My guest is a man who exemplifies the title of his latest book. John Bevere is an international best-selling author and conference speaker with books numbering in the millions in over 60 languages. His wife, Lisa, also a best-selling author, partner in ministry, speaker as well. I don't know how they've managed to raise 4 boys. Addison, Austin, Alexander, and Arden. And congratulations on a first grandbaby.
Grandbaby. Yes, my first G-baby.
How does it feel to be grandpa?
Well, I turned 50 this year, and I got a daughter-in-law just recently because they just got married a year ago, and then I've got my first grandson. So I'm thinking I'm way too young for this, right? So this is what I've determined. My grandson's going to call me G-Daddy instead of Grandpa.
That's the handle you're on me.
I'm going to keep it young, G-Daddy, okay?
Good for you. And Dr. John Bevere.
Oh, don't go there.
Am I letting a secret out? I mean, just in reading the fine print.
I don't like telling people that, yeah.
You do have a doctorate, an earned doctorate in ministry.
Yes, yes.
You shouldn't hide that, John.
Oh, I'd rather be more relatable, and I use it, what I use it for is if I have to get into a nation or if an editor might be giving me a hard time. One editor at one publisher one time was really giving me a hard time, and I just kind of threw it out, and he kind of backed off. So that's what I use it. I want to be known as John.
And what a surprise when we look at what you came out of university with initially.
Right, with a mechanical engineering degree from Purdue University. Yeah, I actually did that because I hated English, and engineers didn't have to take any English. Second worst subject for me in high school was English. First worst language was language. And so God tells me...
How many books later? 15 books?
God tells me to write, and that, you talk about grace, that's grace.
And have you used the engineering?
You know,
I
think so, because, you know, God will never not use something in our life. Mm-hmm. He always uses it for His glory.
Nothing's wasted.
Right.
Even our failures.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. And what engineering did for me is it taught me to think analytically. Mm-hmm. So now when I'm writing, if it doesn't make sense, I won't write it. If I preach it, if it doesn't make sense, I won't preach it. It's got to make sense. And when I'm talking about sense, I mean not lining up with the natural world. I mean sense from line upon line, precept upon precept. In other words, I'm always looking for God to show it to me in His Word. And I think that helped me to be able to communicate and articulate that training of engineering.
Maybe that's why Lisa says you're black and white. I wore this in your honor today, John. She says she's the color.
She's the color. She is so amazing, Moira. I am married to the most amazing woman, I think, that walks the face of the earth. She just carries a mantle on her to change women's lives in such a profound way. And I so respect her because, you know, she wouldn't take public speaking because of her handicap of having her eye removed when she was 5 years old. And she has faced her fears through the grace of God, and now she speaks in front of tens of thousands of women, sometimes in one setting. So it's absolutely amazing to watch what God has done in Lisa Bevere's life. She's really the extraordinary one of the family.
You know, I don't know what we'll be hearing in your teaching segments this month. I'm just so thankful we have you. But you're very vulnerable about the truth of your journey. You talk about the first 5 years of your marriage being a bit of battering and molding into the shape of a vision. You don't just bring us truth from the Word, but from the journey with God.
Well, how can you relate to the message if you can't relate to the messenger? I remember when we were brought up in church in the late 70s, well, actually the 80s and 90s, especially in the 80s, the messengers were at a place where we thought they were unrelatable. We could never be like him. And because there was an image portrayed of, you know, we've got it together. Well, I learned real quick that what helps people the most is if they can relate with me. If I can get them to understand, here's my struggle, but here's how God brought me out of the struggle, then what happens is the Word becomes alive to people. And they think, okay, I have hope. And that's the first place. It always starts with hope, then comes faith, and it's all driven by the love of God. And so if I can give people hope, hey, look, you know, we had a horrible I mean, she's Sicilian and Italian. No, she's Sicilian and Apache Indian. So, you know, they stole my land, and she's mafia. She was born ticked off, she said. Then I'm full-blooded Italian, or not 75% Italian, plus I got a little bit of Irish in me. So we're two, oh, yeah. We had intense fellowship is what I like to say. And so there was some real problems our first 4 years of marriage. And